Episode 9, Swipe Next for Revenge. On Modern Love, Messy Truths, a modern dating anthology. Created by Nightjar. This episode dives deep into Imani's razor-sharp wit, her journey through heartbreak recovery, and the slow, reluctant unfolding of vulnerability. It's a story about what we protect and what we risk when we start to feel again. It's got rhythm, emotional complexity, and a punch of romantic tension just beneath the sarcasm. Let's begin. Imani hadn't cried over her ex. Not during the breakup. Not when he moved out. Not even when she found out he'd already downloaded Date Rhythm before they were officially done. Instead, she started a podcast about dating disasters in real time. Part revenge, part therapy, but mostly chaos. Every Sunday, she poured a glass of wine, grabbed her mic, and roasted her own love life into the void. It wasn't about healing. It was about winning. So when her best friend dared her to go on 5 first dates in 1 week, Imani said yes. Not to find love, but for the content. Let's dive into the mess, the wit, and the unexpected moments of rediscovery. Scene 1, Imani's apartment, podcast setup. Picture this. The living room was dim, but cozy. A soft ring light. A velvet couch. The mic arm clamped to her side table like a surgical tool. Her laptop blinked with recording software. Her voice, cutting like silk-wrapped razor blades. This week's experiment, she said into the mic, the 5-date challenge. 5 men, 5 nights, no second dates, no mercy. Let's see what we learn from the data. And by data, I mean disappointment. She sipped her drink, gave the mic a sideways smirk, and continued. Let's begin with date 1. The man who told me he doesn't believe in soap. Scene 2, date 1 Monday. His name was Tyler. Fit. Smiled too much. Had the vibe of someone who talks about crypto at weddings. They met at a rooftop bar. He wore a tank top and asked if she'd ever tried raw liver. It's ancestral, he said. Western medicine's a scam. He launched into a 10-minute monologue about ice baths, barefoot running, and how he doesn't believe in soap. She ordered an extra strong Negroni and politely imagined herself floating away into space. The conversation was one long TED Talk with no intermission. When the check came, he wanted to manifest abundance instead of splitting it. And then, when he kissed her cheek goodbye, he paused for a moment, sniffed, and said, "You know, your perfume's probably disrupting your pheromones. That stuff messes with natural attraction." She didn't respond, just blinked, slowly like her soul was buffering. He smiled, proud of the science-Y flirtation. Later that night, she told her listeners, "Takeaway, if your date sounds like a podcast ad for Primal Wellness and thinks your perfume is a biological conspiracy, run." Scene 3, date 2, Tuesday. Greg, math teacher. Nervous laugh. They met at a bookstore cafe. He was kind. A little too kind. Said he was looking for forever and mentioned it twice before appetizers. Imani admired the softness, but she also felt allergic to it. She didn't want forever. She wanted room. "So what brings you to dating apps?" he asked. She met his eyes. Revenge. He blinked, momentarily stunned. She smiled sweetly. Didn't clarify. Scene 4, date 3, Wednesday. This one wasn't even worth a full episode. He showed up 20 minutes late, called her exotic. She left during the appetizer and turned the story into a Patreon bonus. Scene 5, date 4, Thursday. Micah, barista, amateur filmmaker, had a deep voice, a scar on his face, and a presence that made you feel like you were being read. They met at a low-key jazz bar. "You look like someone who doesn't pretend to laugh," he said. She smirked. "And you look like someone who notices things most people miss." He stayed cool, just grinned, like she just confirmed something he'd heard more than once before. They drank slowly, talked about horror movies. He asked what scared her, not in general, but really scared her. She lied. "Raccoons," she said, "with human hands." He raised a brow. "Okay, true, but also deflection." When he asked to walk her home, she said no, not because she didn't want him to, but because she did. Scene 6, date 5, Friday. She wanted to bail. She was too tired, felt too raw, too exposed from the night before. But it was the last one. She was a professional. Besides, she needed the full set for the episode. His name was Isaiah. Librarian. Introvert. Wore a gray hoodie and glasses. Smelled like cedar and composure. They met at a ramen spot. He was quiet. Not boring, just calm. Imani felt herself slow down in his orbit. "I listened to your podcast," he said. "Oh," she replied, keeping her cool. "You're that kind of brave." He smiled. "Or foolish. You're funny, though, and sharp." They ate slowly, talked about relationships, about favorite stories, about why he left social media and why she couldn't. At the end of the night, he simply said, "I'd like to hear more of you, even if it's not on air." Scene 7, back at her apartment, recording. It was Saturday night. Imani sat with her mic, her laptop, her wine, but no script. She stared at the blinking cursor, listened to the silence between edits. For the first time, she didn't want to perform or entertain. She wanted to feel. She clicked record. No intro music. "This week didn't go how I expected," she began. "I wanted content, control, a tidy narrative about how predictable men are. But one of them looked at me like I wasn't a punchline, like I didn't have to be clever to be worth something." She paused for a second, voice dropping lower now. "I'm still mad, still healing. But maybe not everything has to be armor. Maybe sometimes the story doesn't need a mic." She clicked stop, closed the laptop, and sat with the silence. Scene 8, later that night. Her phone lit up. Isaiah had texted, "No pressure, but I'm around this week. If you want to just be." She stared at it for a long time, then typed back, "I'd like that. No gif, no witty sign-off, just honesty." It was weird. It was brave. And it was hers. And maybe this was the first time she was ready to break her own no second dates rule. And maybe that's the real beginning. Now here's the real talk. Dating can feel like a battlefield where emotional armor is the only shield. But true connection often begins when you dare to lower that guard and show your real, raw self, even if it means risking the comfort of control. So if you're guarding your heart right now, what might happen if you just let someone see the cracks? Thanks for listening to Modern Love, Messy Truths. Got your own story of unexpected connection? Drop it in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Keep your heart open, your phone handy, and see you in the next episode.